We reported the story yesterday. A purported demand letter from the Kenya Revenue Authority addressed to Kenya's deputy president over taxes that his farm hadn't been remitting. Turns out it's fake. The letter was shared on Facebook and contains the Kenya Revenue Authority's branding. However, it purporting that the authority, or actually the Revenue Service said it had not, put out any letter to the to the vice president over in Kenya with respect to his farm not paying any taxes. But we still want to talk about taxing the informal sector. So joining me now is Richard Ojo, who is the founder and managing partner of TaxMingo. I like that name, TaxMingo. You're welcome. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Assuming that letter was real, right? It was made possible by the Kenya Revenue Authority having data on the deputy vice president's farm. With respect to them getting information, how important is it to have data when it comes to tax collections? I guess we can start with that.
That's very fine. Yes, having data is very, very important and very crucial in having taxpayers into the tax net and assessing them accordingly to tax. Because if you don't know where they are, you don't know how to locate them, you don't know what their source of income is, and whatever their income is and their business is, it's very, very going to be difficult in doing that. So having data information is very, very key and important. So
is that our main discussion now as far as the informal sector and taxing the informal sector? If that's, of course, a high-level politician in Kenya, everybody knows the businesses that he owns. That's why they're able to, the letter is fake, it didn't happen, but that's why the letter was able to be sent to him. For informal businesses, is that the challenge, whereby there is no data and the tax authorities don't know where to send said letters to collect taxes?
Yes, it's a very big challenge to tax authority in Nigeria.
Huge one.
Very, very big challenge.
So, would you call that the main challenge with taxing the informal sector?
It is actually not the only challenge in taxing the informal sector in Nigeria.
Okay.
But absence of data and information as relates to them is a key one, major one, because there is the informal sector in Nigeria are the sectors that are incorporated. They are not registered in Nigeria. They are not registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Yeah.
They are not registered with any tax authority in Nigeria. They are the household business enterprise, like market women, market men, barber, or this artisan, taxi driver, and it is very, very difficult to identify them, to locate them, because there is no data, they are not registered, they are not incorporated. So it's a very challenging one.
Now, what you do over at TaxBingo, I guess you folks outsource tax services for firms, right? But they are mostly formal, are they not?
Yeah.
Aha. Right. So how would you get informal businesses in the informal sector to come forward for you to do the outsourcing that you do for formal businesses?
Yeah, that's great. It's part of what we are doing in TaxBingo.
Yeah.
TaxBingo is win-win for both government, taxpayers, and also all the key players in the tax industry.
Yeah.
How do I mean? We have observed and discovered at TaxBingo that most of the businesses, most especially all these informal sectors in Nigeria, not that they don't actually want to pay taxes.
Oh, so they do?
They do.
Okay.
But most of them are paying to wrong system. And most of them that actually want to do the right thing, they don't know, number one, they don't know how to go about it. And two, the process is too complex for them. Three, the tax laws in Nigeria is too ambiguity for them to understand. They don't know what taxes to pay. They don't know where to pay. They don't know what rate to pay. They don't know how to pay. And mostly they now decide that, okay, let's engage a consultant that will be doing this for us. The cost of doing that for them is too high. For instance, maybe their tax payable on its own is 100,000 per annum. And a consultant, a professional will be asking them that, oh, you have to pay me a retainership of like 250, 500,000, 1 million naira, which they can't afford.
So the retainership for the tax consultants is higher than, your example you're giving, higher than the taxes that they're paying.
In most cases.
Right.
And this is part of the things that makes the tax compliance too expensive. So what we have tried to do at TaxBingo is to combine technology with human professional to solve all these issues for the small and medium enterprises in Nigeria, and most especially to bring in most of all this informal sector to the tax net of the government by giving them a kind of soft landing.
Okay, so but you're in the private sector, so that's understandable. But from the government's perspective, I mean, the Corporate Affairs Commission has been talking about reducing the amount. Well, that's really for registering a business. I really shouldn't mention the Corporate Affairs Commission. What do you make of the government's attempts, or so far attempts made so far, to bring informal businesses into the formal space? Are you satisfied with what you've seen so far? Can it be, I mean, you've already listed the problem, so you're not satisfied. But how would you grade it? As years have passed, how has it improved?
Yes, government have done much, but in my opinion, I believe they still need to do more. Recently, at the emergence of the Finance Act, you will discover that government has done a lot for the small businesses in Nigeria, which also comprises of the informal sectors. By number one, there are so many things in the Finance Act that is encouraging, that can really motivate or drive these people, these businesses in the informal sector into the tax net of the government, like small businesses in Nigeria. If your turnover is less than 25 million, you don't charge VAT anymore, and you don't file VAT returns anymore. Businesses in Nigeria, if your turnover, for instance, annually is less than 25 million, you are not to pay tax any longer. If it is from 25 million to 100 million naira, you pay 25%. And if it is from 100 million above, it is 30%. Unlike before, the irrelevant of what your turnover is, whether it is less than 25 million, whether it is less than 2 million, you are going to pay company income tax at the rate of 30%. But it is no more. I think that's a good one, to give them soft landing, to bring them into the tax net. But I still believe government still needs to do beyond that. They are paying taxes, and in Nigeria is too cumbersome for most of all this informal sector to go about, to understand. The process is too complex for them, and the cost is still expensive for them. I think these are and even tax law too is too ambiguity for them. I think these are the key areas that government need to look into. Some states in Nigeria, and even the federal government, the FRS at the federal level, as they have introduced so many technology to administer and collect taxes in Nigeria, which is a good one. Some states also follow suit. It's a good one. But I still believe they still need to do more. Taxes in Nigeria should be something that from the corner of your office or in your room, you should be able to process all your tax filings, make payments, and file your tax returns. You don't need to still be carrying paper up and down to the tax office here and there. I think government needs to look into that.
I do have to ask you about, because here in Lagos, small businesses and so on, as far as the informal sector, pay taxes to certain bodies. Those monies never get to government's coffers. It's been said that they're even more effective than government at collecting tax. And I'm talking about, for our viewers, touts and all these other non-registered bodies. What do you make of the effectiveness, how effective they are at collecting taxes? Yes,
you can be right to an extent. And sincerely, if you see the way most of these tax touts coordinate themselves, you will see that they are more effective. They go to market here and there. They go to streets just to capitalize on the ignorance of the people, and they are making money from them. Whereas these are the area that government, they need to look into. Look at what is happening in the transport sector, not only in Lagos, all over Nigeria. Look at this body that is the union they belongs to. Look at the way they collect, I don't know what I can call it, if it is fee, if it is, it is levy, the way they collect it from their people.
Right.
Government needs to look into this. Sincerely, most of all this revenue are going into wrong places, into the hands of the touts. The money that's supposed to actually go into the government covers. Something needed to be done on this.
As far as you talked about the knowledge gap, ignorance on the part of the small businesses in the informal sector, how much of a campaign would it take, and would it involve private sector and public sector to inform them of how much it is they have to pay and so on and so forth, so that they can be taken advantage of by the touts and so on and so forth? How much of a challenge is the knowledge campaign?
Yes, I have said that earlier on, that government still need to do much. Yeah. They have to come up with an aggressive awareness and tax education to these people. They can do that on radio, on TV, flyers, campaign, here and there, to educate all these informal sectors about what taxes are, why they needed to pay taxes, how they can go about it, the kind of taxes they are to pay. I'm telling you, from experience, you discover that most of these informal sector actually want to pay their taxes, but they don't know how to go about it.
Gotcha.
And I also need to quickly say something. Yeah. Actually, government has done a lot in giving them soft landing. I think about 4 years, about 2017, there was a scheme from government called FAID. That is a voluntary asset and income declaration scheme, where government asks all the taxpayers who have not been doing it right in the past that come and declare your income voluntarily, and the penalties and the interest will be waived. Right. It was actually done there. And a lot of taxpayers actually came forward to voluntarily declare their assets and efforts. That brought so many of them into the tax net. It increased the government revenue. I think it should be a continuous thing.
Fantastic stuff.
It should be a continuous thing.
Richard Ojo, managing partner, founder of TaxBingo. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about taxes and informal.